Good morning and good afternoon, Patriots. Coming in with a little bit of news this afternoon and some apologies. At least last night, I only fell asleep on the exiting of the show. So the in-stream screen, it just sat on screen for like 4 hours. So if you see yesterday's video and you see it's 10 hours long or 6 or I don't even remember, that last 4 hours you can disregard. Trying to get rid of it. Hey, Chrissy. Good to see ya. What kind of news do we start with today? We could start with the sad news. You ask, how does something like this really happen exactly? Another missing witness. I would have thought there would have been some extreme protection for these witnesses, considering how many people he had in his pocket, including key figures in the New York City Police Department. Apparently not, though. So, star witness is missing. They can't find one of the female victims. Victim number 3 was central to the case. She's not live in New York, where the Combs trial is being held. Prosecutors had mentioned victim number 3 plans to disclose very personal and explosive details concerning abuse she allegedly suffered under Combs. James Comey told the judge that even if they are able to reach the unnamed victim, she may not show up. Interesting. And I don't know if there's more to this story yet or not. Went off grid and they can't find her. Huh. What to make of that? Maybe she decided to stay off grid or just I don't know. Maybe she was frightened into not testifying. But what does this do for the case? I mean, and what does this do for the other witnesses is my concern. I don't like where this whole thing's going, but moving on, because there's other stuff to get to today. Since it's Friday, we'll probably have a lot to look at tonight, so... Ed Martin's done an amazing job as interim U.S. attorney, but will be moving to the Department of Justice as the new director of the Weaponization Working Group, Associate Deputy Attorney General and Pardon Attorney. In these highly important roles, Ed will make sure we finally investigate the weaponization of our government under the Biden regime and provide much-needed justice for its victims. And, of course... He was replaced by Judge Jeanine Pirro for interim D.C. U.S. attorney, which I think is pretty cool. I like Judge Jeanine.
One of the co-hosts of The Five, Judge Jeanine Pirro, will be appointed interim United States attorney for the District of Columbia. President Trump announced that on Truth Social just moments ago. Jeanine was assistant district attorney for Westchester County, New York, and then went on to serve as county judge and district attorney, where she was the first woman ever to be elected to those positions. She will be leaving Fox to take this position, and we obviously wish her well.
Yeah, can't blame her for that. This girl from Georgia College student, she ran a red light and discovered that her and her entire family were illegals, and now they're all getting deported. Just thought I'd mention that. It's kind of like Whoa, if you don't know. So, do we look at part two of James O'Keefe's adventure that he's on? Let's take a look at it and see what you guys think.
Yesterday, Attorney General of the United States Pam Bondi was at the White House and disclosed what she represented as brand new information in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, the existence of tens of thousands of videos featuring little children.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, this is the first time an official has publicly acknowledged that videos of Epstein and his victims exist. What you may not know is just 9 days prior, the Attorney General had a very similar conversation with a total stranger in a restaurant.
Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon. The FBI has been.
Okay.
So,
any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tens of thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
In the past, officials have spoken about the, quote, mountain of evidence in the Epstein case, but they've never, previous to that moment, acknowledged on the existence of videos of, quote, little kids. Just a few days later, at 2 p.m. on May 1st, our reporter sent the AG's office the text of the recording. We asked why this detail had not been disclosed to the public, but was instead being told to a random stranger at a restaurant. The Attorney General used almost the exact same language as she did with the stranger in the restaurant, language that we shared with her press office.
There are tens of thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, we hesitated to publish this story, but believe, like we did yesterday, that the public has a right to know. And this one raises serious questions. On one hand, why did our country's highest law enforcement official share this information first not with the American people, but with a self-described nanny at brunch? But more importantly, why was this information held back in the first place? Does this show that a government apparatus is still working behind the scenes to protect powerful people involved in the scandal? Based upon the response to our Epstein story yesterday, it's clear that the American people want answers, and they want accountability.
Okay, where do I begin? So it's hard to validate this story because while he's saying that, oh, she told her nanny first, the American public still heard it at her press conference before he released the video of the nanny. As far as the difference between using the term children and little kids, I mean, tell us something we don't know. I get what he's trying to do here. He's trying to find out if there's corruption in the Trump administration that's preventing these files from being released, and apparently quite effectively spying on the Trump administration while doing so. But that's like me releasing a story, something we kind of already know. I mean, I don't even know how to use an example. It's I think it's shit reporting personally. I think he's so gung ho to get some attention that he was jumping on this bandwagon before he's even got a real story, in my opinion. Or he's just trailing people along for attention. He's telling you, could it be that there's this corruption in the Trump administration? Well, you've been investigating, Mr. O'Keefe. Is there or is there not? Or are you going to make us wait another 2 weeks while you slow drip some videos out and make everybody speculate to high heaven in the process? This is ridiculous journalism. I think it's shoddy journalism. And I think he's an attention seeker. And I'm actually kind of embarrassed that I applied for a position with his media group. Moving on, MJ Truth shared his opinion on it, which wasn't really anything different than mine. I don't see anything nefarious here. I mean, he seemed like he's trying to attack Pam Bondi in this video, but I like the point MJ makes here. You had James O'Keefe the other day saying, "I'm scared. I'm not suicidal. This one scares me. Like my life's in danger." You think Pam Bondi's gonna send Hitman after James O'Keefe for spying on her? I don't know. It's just the whole damn thing's about attention. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a joke. This is interesting. It's from Cali Means. Just received information that Laura Loomer is taking money from industry to scuttle President Trump's agenda. If that's correct, sue me and let's go do discovery. That should be interesting to wait out. We should know this already because this is one of the names that Isaac Cappy pointed out in one of his videos before he was killed, that Laura Loomer was just like Alex Jones and an agent of the Mossad. So I don't know. But this whole Casey Means story is getting so ridiculous. It seems like Nicole Shanahan's pissed at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for naming Casey Means Surgeon General and trying to tell the world that he was forced to do so and that he really doesn't like this person. And it kind of forced Robert F. Kennedy to come out and defend Casey Means.
Casey Means, we felt, was the best person to really bring the vision of MAHA to the American public. She has this unique capacity to articulate it. She's written a book that really mobilized, galvanized the movement. She is an extraordinary. She is excellence in everything that she's ever endeavored.
Obviously, she's come under her own criticism about some of the things she's advocated for. She never finished her residency, and she doesn't currently have an active medical license. But that's not.
She was the very top of her medical class at Stanford. She's during her residency, she won every award that she could win. She walked away from traditional medicine because she was not curing patients. She couldn't get anybody within her profession to look at the nutrition contributions to illness. And she said, if we're really going to heal people, if we're healers, we can't just be making our life about building new procedures. We actually have to figure out new approaches to medicine. And that's the kind of leadership that she's going to bring to our country.
He seems to think she's more than qualified. I'm wondering if it's just a bit of jealousy from Nicole Shanahan's position that she wasn't named or something. I don't honestly know. Seems like relationships are finally breaking down between Trump and Israel. It says President Trump has severed ties with Benjamin Netanyahu, criticizing the Israeli prime minister and his allies for being arrogant and attempting to pressure him. Along with that bit of news, U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth canceled his scheduled visit to Israel. So we'll look a little deeper at this. With these videos that try and tell you the news without speaking. It's lazy news, people. Trying to manipulate him. Should we be surprised about that? Oh, the Israelis are trying to manipulate somebody. Oh, wow, go figure. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I don't know if it surprises you guys, but they're going to have the whole world against them. The whole world pretty much is against them at this point. And they've done it to themselves.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has just canceled his trip to Israel as the Israeli-American ties are faltering. We all know yesterday the report that President Trump and Netanyahu have cut all communications, and the fallout continues today. Israel has responded saying that they will defend themselves alone, with or without the United States. And now Hegseth has just canceled his trip upcoming to Israel for no apparent reason. Is the U.S. giving Israel a cold shoulder? And if so, what are the consequences going to be?
Nothing. I mean, what are they going to do about it? I don't think they'd want to pick that war. This news has actually been simmering around for a few days, but like everything else, unless it's about Trump, the news really doesn't want to cover it. The U.S. Justice Department opened a criminal probe of New York State Attorney General Letitia James over mortgage fraud allegations. It took this long for somebody to make a story about it. Of course, why would I expect somebody to read the news? We just play music with the news now. I'm going to have to stop downloading these videos. It's becoming a waste of time. All right, moving on from Letitia James. New York, Dallas, Seattle, and 25 other major U.S. cities are sinking, threatening the structural integrity of buildings, roads, dams, and other forms of infrastructure, says a new research study. Yeah, shit's falling to pieces. You ever driven through St. Louis?
New York, Dallas, and Seattle are among American cities that are sinking, reveals new research. An analysis of 28 urban areas in the United States revealed that all of them are falling in altitude, potentially affecting 34 million people. The cities are sinking by 0.08 to 0.4 inches per year, according to new research published in the journal Nature. The major cause is groundwater extraction, say scientists. The Virginia Tech study used satellite-based radar measurements to create high-resolution maps of subsidence, or sinking land, for 28 of the most populous American cities. The cities are home to 34 million people, around 12% of the total U.S. population. At least 20% of the urban area is sinking in every city studied, and in 25 of the 28 cities, at least 65% is sinking. Study lead author Leonard Owenhen warned that when land shifts downward, even just a little bit, the structural integrity of buildings, roads, bridges, and dams can be profoundly impacted. Owenhen, a geosciences graduate student who worked with Associate Professor Manucher Sherzai, correct at Virginia Tech's Earth Observation and Innovation Lab, said, "A lot of small changes will build up over time, magnifying weak spots within urban systems and heighten flood risks." New York, Chicago, Seattle, Denver, and 5 other cities are sinking at around 0.08 inches per year. Several cities in Texas showed some of the highest measured rates of subsidence at about 0.2 inches per year, and as much as 0.4 inches per year in certain areas of Houston. Some localized zones are sinking faster than nearby areas, according to the findings. The researchers say the phenomenon represents one of the more harmful yet least visible effects of subsidence. Professor Sherzai explained that, unlike flood hazards, where risks manifest only when land sinks below a critical threshold, inconsistent land motion can crack and destabilize buildings, foundations, and infrastructure. His team assessed how infrastructure risks increase when subsidence rates vary. Other cities with high subsidence variability include New York, Las Vegas, and Washington, D.C., Sherzai said. The latent nature of this risk means that infrastructure can be silently compromised over time with...
One of my teachers always said eventually they'd be moving everybody off the coastlines, but I don't know, that was kind of the global warming days, and how things have changed. But are we headed for the blackout days here in America? Newark this morning, their radar screens went down. They went black early this morning, like 4 o'clock this morning. But It just happened again not that long ago. Another brief outage at Newark Airport. Let's see if there's a reason why.
We have some breaking news right now. Radar screens at Newark Airport went black again early this morning. It's the second outage at Newark in as many weeks, and it's raising some serious safety concerns. Let's bring in ABC News transportation producer Sam Sweeney on the phone with more. Sam, what's the latest?
Well, Diane, this happened earlier this morning around 3:55, which was the best time it could have possibly happened. You never want this to happen, but when there are fewer planes in the air, of course, it is obviously better. But you can hear in the air traffic control audio the radar controller, who is based in Philadelphia, but controlling the airspace around Newark, that they had another blackout again, another radar outage again. And then they go on to a private jet, and they say, we just lost our radar. If you can contact us, stay at or above 3,000 feet on your approach into Teterboro. That plane was arriving from Cyprus. They then go on to tell the FedEx plane to contact their airline or FedEx as a company to put pressure on officials to get this problem fixed. This comes just days after, of course, that first outage back on April 28th. More than 1,100 flights have already been canceled because of that outage and the controllers who have been out on medical leave.
So, Sam, what does this mean for people who are scheduled to travel out of Newark over the next few days?
Look, there is going to be delays for days, possibly weeks out of Newark because they are short air traffic controllers and they're dealing with a runway construction project. Luckily, this morning's outage was brief. We reached out to the FAA to learn more information about how long this took place. They hadn't even known about the issue when we contacted them, so we're working to get more. But right now, things are back on. Radars are working, but there are still severe delays at Newark. On average, it's more than an hour delay right now for arriving and departing flights.
All right, Sam, thanks for staying on top of this.
Of course,
our transportation producer, Sam Sweeney.
It's
Thank
a bit
you.
troubling they don't mention a cause whatsoever. Makes you wonder when something like that happens once, twice, and three times, there's clearly a serious issue, and the fact that they don't even touch on the subject of that makes me wonder if they already know what's happening. And if we should know what's happening, doesn't mean we will get to know what's happening, but and of course, what could those things be? Hackers, something to do with the sun. It's hard telling. If they want to tell us, I suppose they'll tell us. Xi and Putin were seen sitting together as Russia's Victory Day parade began in the Red Square, marking the 80th anniversary of Nazi Germany's defeat. He was also seen, talking to the North Korean guy. I'll show you a tiny bit of his speech because we need to move on.
Queridos ciudadanos de la Federación Rusa, veteranos, queridos invitados, camaradas, soldados y marineros, sargentos y sargentos, guardiamarinas.
Or not. I guess you probably don't care too much about his speech anyway. Just there was a lot of stuff about fighting Nazis and that kind of stuff, And for Japan, Panasonic is looking at having to cut 10,000 jobs worldwide. I assume they're barely hanging on as there's a lot of changes in the technology industry. What does Panasonic make? TVs and radios and things, I guess. Does anybody buy stereos anymore?
Hey, guys, hope you're all good.
Japanese electronics giant Panasonic is cutting 10,000 jobs worldwide, 5,000 in Japan, and 5,000 overseas, about 4% of its global workforce. The move aims to boost productivity by streamlining sales and support departments and cutting excess roles. While the layoffs may cause short-term disruption, They're part of a strategy to reduce costs and improve efficiency. Going forward, Panasonic will optimize operations globally, complying with local labor laws to stay competitive in a fast-changing market.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video.
We wouldn't dream of it. All right, let's see. I think about covers it. A lot of stuff still happening with Pakistan and India. Pakistan said they've shot down 77 drones in 2 days. Pope Leo XIV says the church must illuminate dark nights of this world. Interesting. South Africa protests to the United States over the first white Afrikaners settlement. This was kind of news to me. I didn't know that Donald Trump was working on this. I suppose I missed it at some point, but
the United States is working to bring the first group of white South Africans it has classified as refugees to the country early next week. The New York Times reported on May 9th. U.S. President Donald Trump's administration plans to send officials to the Washington Dulles International Airport in Virginia for marking the arrival of the South Africans from the white minority Afrikaner ethnic group. The White House and the HHS did not immediately respond to the development. The administration initially planned to welcome the Afrikaners on May 12th, but some officials familiar with the matter cautioned that the plans remained in flux, subject to flight logistics and processing of the group. Trump issued an executive order on February 7th for the U.S. to resettle Afrikaner refugees. As per the order, Afrikaners, who are descendants of mostly Dutch early settlers, were victims of unjust racial discrimination. Trump's executive order lacks factual accuracy and fails to recognize South Africa's profound and painful history of colonialism and apartheid, South Africa's foreign ministry said in response then. Before the order, Trump had suspended all U.S. refugee admissions, citing security and cost concerns. Thousands of Afghans, Congolese, and others fleeing conflict were blocked after they had been...
I had no idea. I mean, I knew there was some stuff going on down there again, but I didn't know Trump was moving to bring refugees here from South Africa. This is interesting. Mexico sues Google over the Gulf of America name change. Why is that important, guys? Why is that important? To me, that's a huge story because to me it says that white hats are in control over at Google because they would never do something like that on Trump's behalf, and there's no legal basis to do so. So I'm beginning to think there's white hats running Google at this point. I don't know how else you would wrap it up because I'm telling you, they just wouldn't do that for the hell of it. And U.S. measles outbreak crosses 1,000 confirmed cases. That is the news so far. I'm going to play this Wano Savan episode because we're not going to have time to play it tonight. Whether you guys want to watch it or not is up to you. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't speak for it one way or another, but I know we're gonna need the time tonight, so I'm playing it now, and I'll be in the chat with you guys and working, and then aside from that, I'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll have some fun.
Is standing pat on the Fed funds rate. Pretty much knew he was going to do that. Stock market it's up a little bit. The Dow was up pretty good. It's up over 330 points right now. Disney.
What is with
did
all
well.
these glitchy videos?
Still people going to Disney World. And probably Disney Channel and Honeywell or some other company is doing okay.
Juan comes on here at some point, but do you guys notice that more and more, all these videos we watch? This is, at first it was like one channel. This is like 3 different channels we watch. And I get these videos directly from the channels. These aren't copies. They're not replicas. These are the videos put out by the people you see in the videos. So I don't get it.
Okay, so they're celebrating. The highly rigged stock market is up. All right. So NASDAQ is kind of like flat. Gold and silver are under pressure. So at some point we're going to see silver do an extreme acceleration to the upside. And I think that's coming sooner rather than later. There's obviously a lot of manipulation that goes on there. You look at the China and overseas markets, and silver goes up huge during the night, and then the manipulators come in the morning with all their paper and not silver, right? And they drive the silver price down. I think it was like I saw hundreds and hundreds of paper, silver options or so forth, futures against one real silver, right? So it's highly rigged. JP Morgan Chase obviously got fined almost $1 billion for rigging the market, yet it continues. All right, $1 billion is nothing compared to probably they made hundreds of billions. So no biggie to them. For their deep state bubbas, they basically keep the silver price down so they can do these wars and it won't cost them as much because silver is in missiles, it's in ships, it's in tanks, it's in everything military. Of course, they're pushing the global warming lie, which they want the solar power and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to continue to see a lot of pressure on silver, but at some point it busts higher and it will accelerate, I believe, on a very massive scale to the upside. Now, what happens to the stock market in the meantime? I think we're still going to see the stock market go down at some point. Is it going to continue to go up like it is right now? Or is it going to start to roll over? My thoughts are it rolls over and then starts to head down again. We need to watch, is it go down and test the low, or does it bounce off that low and go higher and bust through the old high? So we saw a double top in the stock market, in the Dow and the NASDAQ and the S&P. And then the stock market started going down pretty significantly. I saw yesterday, just before the close, massive selling come in and drove the stock market down very quickly, very fast, within just seconds. Right. So a lot of you think that you're going to be able to hold your assets and sell at some point. That is not going to happen. All right. They're going to make everybody think that everything's hunky dory. You're going to get in to the stock market, which is inflated beyond everything, every standard that's ever existed, and then it's going to be okay for a long time. You're just going to buy the dips as it's worked for you since 2008, when the stock market had a massive crash, and it's just going to be okay because they'll come in and dump money and they won't let it go down again. So a lot of people are going to get spanked on that. So remember, silver, need to be in silver. Dr. Kirk Elliott, I have the link down in the description box. Definitely get in there and get your silver. All right. So other things that are on the agenda, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a little bit, is Justice Roberts. Justice Roberts is being sued right now. And so he's corrupt. He's obviously part of the deep state. So a lot of these people that should be good aren't good, and they're being exposed. And that's going to continue. So the Justice Department has to go away. And until the Justice Department goes away, we're not going to see the arrests that, we have been anticipating. The Justice Department, judicial, judicial side, not necessarily just the department, but the judicial across America is completely compromised, probably 70 to 80%. And the exposure of that is going to be massive, and a takedown of that system. So once the protection that they get from the judicial system is gone, it'll be very quick and very aggressive towards all those people that have been doing a lot of bad things over the last several years and more. Right? So it is hilarious to watch this. It is better than any movie. You can't watch anything that's better than this show that we got going on right now. We're seeing right now, Ukraine basically is getting slam hammered by Russia, and there's no place where Ukraine is winning. They might win for a day or two somewhere. They might do an offensive, but Russia just comes in and hammers them and then pushes them back and then goes deeper into Ukrainian territory and kills a lot more, unfortunately, Ukrainians than Russians are dying. I've seen as high as like 10 to 1. I don't know what the exact numbers are. They're not going to really release them, I don't think. But it is a waste of human life. I don't like to see any of that. I think in the future we won't see any of that when the deep state is basically taken down. Kazarian Mafia is like a joke compared to the real masters, the real controllers from the Vatican, the Jesuits. The Jesuits are very, very powerful, very effective, and they've hidden themselves quite well, haven't they? Because we don't talk about the Jesuits, we talk about the Kazarian Mafia. Kazarian Mafia is nothing compared to the Jesuits. Wow! So finding this stuff out is part of the process and part of taking down the deep state, exposing them, moving their assets, and assets I mean like their money making off the table. So human trafficking that is almost at a standstill on the southern border, that they made massive amounts of money on, and they paid many judges off to do court cases in their favor and protect their people. That's basically being destroyed, absolutely being destroyed and taken off the table. So that's phenomenal. I think we'll continue to see much more destruction of the deep state. Very obvious. Michelle Obama, Mike Obama is going through transition. What the heck does that mean? So Michelle Obama, what were you saying? Michelle Obama goes into therapy, is transitioning to next phase of her life. Is she getting that ding dong taken off? I think that's what's going to happen. Maybe that's why Barack is like not seeing her anymore. He's like, what? That's the thing I love the most about you, Biggie. All right. So that is very interesting. At this phase of my life, she says, I'm in therapy right now because I'm transitioning. Michelle said, according to the magazine. So she's on Own Purpose podcast. Your current focus on mental health. So I'm 60 years old. I finished a really hard thing in my life with my family intact. So she's basically doing what everybody else does, right? Live life. You have your ups and downs, but for him, her, hit, whatever, it's tough, right? Taking those children that were from another couple and playing it off as if they were your own. That's got to eat at you at some point. So I finished a really hard thing in my life with a family attack. I'm an empty nester. So those children that weren't hers have moved on, as was probably the plan from the beginning. They helped them do the White House.
This is getting a little
for 8 years
freaky.
or however long, and maybe they came in a little early. I don't know. So it's like crazy. But the real parents
It's
are
supposed to be
were.
one, and the other guy's not even talking. This is weird.
Hands on, aiding and abetting.
Yeah, I can hear that guy now, but
And I'm pretty sure you guys have heard.
So it's like a trap door that we had, and probably now that I'm talking about it, it's probably slammed shut, but
I swear.
and nailed. But There was
See
a
how
secret link
careful
at
you
one
got to
point
be
where many of us could
looking
look
for stuff,
into
guys, and
that
collecting
world and see.
videos. And
I think it still exists.
this is right from Jaco's own page. That's the damnedest thing.
Journal, Virology Journal. They're building blood heal kit is designed.
Looks like we'll have to. That was half the reason I came on early, because I thought. Well, hell, guys, I guess you just get a little bit of me anyway. I'll have to double check again for that. David Souter, Supreme Court Justice, favoring judicial restraint, dies at age 85. I've never heard that name before. Just seeing if any other news is breaking, and I really don't see it, but I hope you guys don't think I was too harsh on James O'Keefe. I really support all journalism and types of actual journalism, but I can't put my finger on what he's doing there, breaking a story in pieces, or I mean, I would think you just break your story, the whole story, all at once, so as not to lose people. But maybe it's more about trying to force Trump's hand and Pam Bondi's hand more than anybody to release these files. And that's half of what journalism's about, really, guys. It's about pushing buttons. It's about forcing the hand of the man, forcing a response, and that's why we do what we do here. And we're learning, but we're also just trying to make it aware that we're talking about these things, we're asking about these things, and that's the good side to all this. It has to be done. Otherwise, they just think you're not paying attention. Looks like a beautiful day out there, guys. I got all my work done yesterday around the house, mowing and stuff like that. That's probably why I fell asleep before I turned the show off last night. I need to start setting an alarm or something. Yeah. Well, that's all I really got right now, guys. I'm going to go looking into some things again for tonight. I really want to know what's going on with this missing Diddy witness, because we keep getting these types of stories, or even like with the Epstein witness that they say committed suicide. Like, maybe they're getting offed, maybe they committed suicide, maybe they didn't. And with this story, it's like, well, she was out hiding from everybody. She had decided to go dark, so maybe that explains it. Maybe it does, or maybe it's just another witness that's gotten murdered. I really, if I was one of those witnesses, I'd probably be frightened too. I wouldn't want to be in New York. Probably not LA either. They should be protected. Trump's people should be protecting those witnesses at all costs, for crying out loud. We've waited decade and decades for some people to hear these stories go public, to see people get justice for it, and they're not even protecting the witnesses? What sense does that make? Something's not right with it. Either they don't want to protect him or they want him dead and I'm not talking about the side that's the obvious. I would mean Trump's side and that, would be a stretch in the other direction completely. So I don't get it. At all costs, they should be protecting those witnesses. That should be just common sense. I don't understand. Maybe that is what they're doing, though. I don't know why they would have to kill them all off to protect them, though, and they could just protect them. Maybe it. I don't know. Any thoughts on this, guys and gals? It's one weird story after another, huh? It's kind of frustrating because lately we get the stories, but we don't get the stories. They give us a headline, and just like the blackouts, they tell you we got blackouts, but say anything about what might have caused them. It's not normal for an airport's radar to black out on 3 different occasions within a week, or probably at all, really. I would think those systems are backed up or on generators. I'm sure some of you guys know how that works more than me, but I would think a radar system is pretty crucial. Wouldn't a generator just kick in? And so what would make the power and the generators go? That would be what we need to look into, right? Whew, getting a lot of sun in the window. Just some of the questions I'll be pondering over today while I'm trying to figure out the stories for tonight, guys, but that's really weird. Yeah, I can do that, Jamie. Oh, there's good people, Posty. It's just people are easily manipulated. It's what I was talking about with woke left, woke right. People can buy into something so quickly and then they're behind it 100%, but they don't actually comprehend what they're behind, what they're following. Are you following your way into light? Are you following your way into darkness? Who's leading you there? And why are you following that person? Do you have to follow that person? I ask myself that. I don't know if enough people are lately. That's what worries me. Sheep, I guess, don't transform from sheep, do they? Sheep stay sheep. Is that how that works? I don't know. I think a sheep can become a wolf or a lion or whatever the hell. I don't know. Oh. Yep. All right, guys. I'm going to go get to it. I'm going to go get a drink. My mouth is so very dry. But what was Trump's announcement? I don't think he's mentioned it yet, has he? I know the 2 theories the other day were something to do with Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accord, or I cannot remember. Yeah, I'll look for that too. At this point, people pretty much are good about sharing things. So, but anyway, God bless you guys. Go have some fun. Go enjoy your days. Your day. Your days. Day. Regular reckoning. That sounds about right, Michelle. But yep, I will see you guys about 7 o'clock tonight, like always. So have a good one.